Hey everyone, it's Sandy Freshy, Human Design Specialist. I have a couple of things I want to share with you about Oprah Winfrey's chart. I know that earlier in this week, she delivered a masterful speech at the Golden Globe Awards, and it kicked up a lot of interest again in the possibility of her running for president. And then in the news, the whole next day, there was talk and speculation about whether or not she would do it and talk about how she is actively considering it. So when I heard that, I just instantly pulled up her chart to see what's going on. And let me just share that with you because I want to point some things out to you. And I think the title of this video is going to be something like what was she thinking at the time, because this is what I saw initially. Now, I can't tell you whether or not she's going to run for president. When you look at the human design chart, you're really kind of looking at the map for the potentials of how a person can use their energy and work with other people. It's not the territory. It does show you how she can ride in her vehicle, and that's a term that we use in human design, the vehicle being the body and the consciousness being the passenger in the body, observing and making decisions according to the way that the body is designed to do it. And if you notice down here, she has work energy. If you're not familiar with all of these human design terms, I'm just going to try and keep this simple so you can get the gist of what was possibly going on at the time that she was encouraged and made this announcement that she is actively considering running for president. She has work energy in the sacral center. It's defined anywhere where you see these colored in centers or these channels, these lines that connect these centers or these gates. This is where you will have this consistent experience of the themes that are running through your body, the themes that you're kind of running your vehicle's operating system off of, so to speak. So she's got consistent energy. She's a generator, meaning that the sacral is defined. She's got consistent energy to work, but none of her sacral energy or her other motorized energy actually gets to the throat on her own. So if you look at this as kind of like a schematic, you'll see that she's got the sacral that runs up to this center that is known as the G center, the center for identity, love, and direction. She's also got the motorized root, the emotional solar plexus that are defined, but they don't connect to the throat. The reason that this is important is because she really needs to wait to get clarity, especially because she's got this emotional solar plexus defined. This shows us how she is designed to make decisions so that she can ride in her vehicle with the least amount of resistance and the greatest ease. She needs to wait for things to come to her to respond to and then take her time to make decisions. And then that will ensure that she's among the people and in the environment where she has the support she needs, the motorized support she needs to get energy up so that she can manifest what it is that the opportunity is bringing to her. So this opportunity of the possibility of running for president has probably been in her life for a long time. And I know that there have been rumors all along and that people have been encouraging her to run for president. You can see in her chart, just the quick down and dirty here, that she's got power. The 3457 is literally the channel of power. It's work energy and instinct connected and working together. She's got perseverance in the 46, the 2946 here, which gives her that stick-to-itness, that ability to succeed where other people fail. She has deep, deep tribal energy of needing to be wanted, wanting to be needed, and knowing what the tribe needs in order to survive. And then she's got this mind, this inspiring mind. She's a thinker with the 6124. She thinks deeply. She thinks about things that potentially can change the world. When she inspires people through her ideas and her thinking, it changes their lives. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you notice, there's a lot going on here. If you just look at the picture, you can tell that this is a person that has a lot going on, a lot of energy through these defined centers and through these channels that she's radiating out into the world. She has 3 sets of centers that are connected and defined and working with each other, are working in sort of a contained unit, but they don't really connect or synchronize with the other centers that she has. So if this is kind of confusing for you, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me just outline this for you. She's got the root and the emotions, the ability to manage stress and pressure and emotional energy consistently through this 1949, through this way of knowing what the tribe needs in order to survive, through this potentially deep desire to be wanted and needed by the tribe. So she has that. Then she has the G center, the center for love, direction, and identity. So she has a consistent sense of her own identity through perseverance and commitment and love of being embodied. That's in that 4629, going from that yellow diamond to the sacral. Then she's got the sacral connected to the spleen center via the 3457. So these 3 centers, the G, the sacral, and the spleen, the identity, the work, regenerative energy, and the in-the-moment instinct and knowing, all connected and working together. And then up here, she's got the head and the ajna, the ability to inspire others through her thinking. So that's all up here. And if you notice, there's nothing connecting the head and the ajna with the throat or with the other centers, and there's nothing connecting the root and the emotional solar plexus with the head and the ajna, or with the sacral, the G, and the spleen. So that's why we say that she has a triple split definition. She has 3 sets of definition that don't talk to each other. So when someone has a triple split, there's a lot going on in their lives, even more so than if they had all those centers defined and they were all defined together. They were all connected and working together. She needs to kind of go in and out of different environments and be with different people and mix it up with other people so that she can feel more connected within herself. So let's look at what was going on the night of the Golden Globe Awards in the transits, the significant transits, and for a few days after, because this is where you're going to get a sense of what may have been going on for her internally and how she possibly got to the point where she came out and said, okay, I'm going to consider it. Basically, what was going on in the transits is that all of her splits, all 3 of these sets of centers, got connected up that night. And they were connected through the energies that were brought to her through what the sun was in, what Venus was in, Mercury. There were gates that actually bridged her splits so that she probably felt pretty integrated all on her own. She was feeling her stuff. If you saw that speech that she gave, and of course she's always eloquent in the way she speaks and purposeful, because she does have this undefined throat that can really take in the expression energy of other people and speak to those people in the way that they can really hear it and resonate with it. But that night she had some extra stuff going on that really hooked her up internally. Before we get to that, I just want to preface this with a brief understanding of her profile. And this is taken from these 2 line values of these gates here. And this video is way too short to actually explain all of that, but just understand that this 2 and this 4 up here at the top of her chart are kind of like a snapshot of what her role is in the world, how she interacts with other people when she's really being authentic. So it's known as the hermit in the 2 and the opportunist in the 4, the hermit opportunist. This is the classic introvert, extrovert, push me, pull you, a kind of an energy. So when someone is a hermit opportunist, they'll tend to want to keep to themselves. And the more that they keep to themselves, the more that people come to them to try and seek them out. And a lot of times they don't even really understand the power and the value that they have that other people want from them. So their initial reaction can be, well, what do you want from me? You know, I'm just kind of minding my own business here. Why do you keep calling me out to these things that you want me to participate in? And then eventually they do go. And especially if, for in Oprah's case, if she's following her sacral response, and we don't know if she's ever had a human design reading, but we know that she's had a lot of life experience, and she has probably learned that she needs to wait for clarity and follow her gut on some level. So she's probably been waiting for the right timing and the right opportunities, and her gut hasn't necessarily aligned, or maybe she has had that gut response, but there are things that she's waiting for. And part of what she may be waiting for is just that right timing, or that energy of, yeah, I'm ready to come out to the party, which is the energy of the 4 and the opportunist. So her splits, let's get back to her splits, because this is really where I want to go with this. So on the night of the Golden Globe Awards, and then for a few days after, Mercury was in the gate 11. Whenever energy comes to you through the transits or through other people, you will often feel like you have that energy in an amplified way. So the gate 11 was in, and if you notice, her gate 11 was undefined. So she was taking that energy of the 11, and if you look at it mechanically, her ability to think consistently and inspire through her thoughts was energetically connected to her throat center. She probably felt like her thoughts were able to be expressed easily. Now, the gate 11 is the gate of ideas. So their ideas for other people, their ideas about the collective, and you can see just from the name of the gate, the title of the gate, the theme it embodies. So that was one gate. The other gate that bridged her split that night was the gate 13, the energy of the gate 13. Then she had this energy of the G, her sense of identity and direction, being connected to her throat. A few minutes ago, we talked about how she's a generator and she doesn't have motorized energy that gets to the throat. So in this instance, she could be feeling that this motorized sacral center is moving, that energy is able to move to the throat for expression and manifestation. So we've got head and ajna bridged with the G, the sacral, and the spleen. We've got inspiration and mutative thinking bridged with her sense of identity, direction, power for work, and instinct, all talking and connected. So here's her root and her emotional solar plexus. And what was also in at the time was a really powerful combination of transits of the gate 54. So the Sun, Venus, Pluto were all in the gate 54, the gate of ambition. So over here in the 5432, this is another aspect of the tribal circuitry. It's known as the channel of transformation. It carries with it a lot of drive. So there's ambition in the 54, and there's duration endurance in the 32. And it carries the theme of being able to transcend your station in life and being able to move up the ladder, knowing what is necessary for people in the tribe to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, to work together, to move from where we are now to where we can really be if we transformed our tribal patterns. The 54 is a really interesting gate because it's known as the marrying maiden in the I Ching. And the parable of the marrying maiden talks about how the concubine marries up into the ranks of royalty until she becomes the empress. Another aspect of the marrying maiden is also known as a second wife, which means that there was a first wife traditionally in ancient Chinese society, and the first wife often brought the sister as the second wife. The first wife had all the power. The sister, or the second wife, got her power by finding her place in the family, by fitting into the family and feeling out the timing of what her role is within that family, or in terms of this circuitry, that tribal unit. So it carries with it this great energy of the impulse to have that power to be part of a family unit or a tribal unit that transcends its station in life, that moves forward into, in this case, economic prosperity, into having all the resources that are necessary for the unit or the group of people to survive and thrive. So anyway, on the night of the Golden Globes, and then for a few days after, she had all of these splits defined. So she was feeling her stuff. She was in her element. All the parts of Oprah Winfrey probably felt like they were working together. Now, when someone has a triple split, they derive a lot of energy from these places where they get energy from others that bridge their splits in these gates that are undefined. And if they're not aware that that energy comes and goes, they may be sort of reaching out and wanting to operate from that energy when it's not really theirs to hold on to, right? It's there, it conditions them, it influences them. And if they're making decisions from that place of what they're feeling, well, in this case with Oprah, what she was feeling in that night when her energy was all connected and flowing as one cohesive unit, then she could get herself into trouble. You know, she could step out there and take actions that really aren't in alignment with her best interest or her trajectory or where she needs to go to fulfill her purpose in life. The other thing that happens with a triple split in terms of conditioning is that the centers that are undefined or open will be the ones that are most conditioned. That's where she will be the most influenced by other people's energies. If you notice, she's got the throat center that's undefined, and it was bridged at the time of the Golden Globes and when she was making that announcement that she was considering running for president. So this is a powerful place where she would sort of feel like she was pushed to speak about what was going on. She could have felt like she really had that energy to come forth and vocalize what her intention is. The other place where you see that she was vulnerable to conditioning or to influences at the time very powerfully is in her will center or her heart center. This is a center for willpower, value, worth, being able to keep promises if it's defined, and for her it's undefined. So I would bet that there is at least one, if not several, people in her inner circle with a defined will center. So when someone brings that energy of definition into your energy field, into your auric field, you'll amplify it and perhaps feel that it's yours. So People with a defined will center who have this colored in often have a fixed sense of value and worth. Sometimes they don't take no for an answer, and they radiate that out. Now, the will center is also the center for ego, not necessarily in the negative term. It depends on how the person is living out their chart. But it's the sense of, yeah, I can do this. I have what it takes. I can make these promises. And if they were calling her out and have been calling her out with her 2-4 profile, her hermit opportunist profile for a long time, and she was having conversations with them, she was taking in that energy, if they had that defined will center, and amplifying it, and perhaps really feeling an inflated sense of, yes, I have what it takes. Yes, I can possibly make this promise to run for president. She was probably feeling this inflated sense of her own value and worth. And there's no judgment around this. I'm just saying that this might have been going on with her after she went home from that powerful speech she gave. She was probably in the company of people who were saying, hey, this is great. You're so awesome. You're such a powerful woman. Why don't you run for president? And if they're in her auric field with that defined will center, she was probably really feeling that ego power, that willpower that she could really do this thing. Even though she felt this pressure to announce that she was considering running, she was very wise not to actually commit to that and make that promise at this time. You can tell that she's taking her time. She's probably gathering information. She's hopefully feeling it out through her gut. And still probably wondering on some level, when she gets out of the influence of the people with defined willpower in her life, what all the big hype is about. She likes her hermit life. She has created something that's very comfortable for her. And she still has power. She still has influence. She has a great amount of it. And she's probably weighing out the sacrifice of how she would have to come out and be with other people and what that would mean to her in her own sense of comfort or discomfort. Now, the other thing that's going on in the transits is that the gate 10 has been in. Saturn has been in gate 10, and several planets have been in and out of the gate 10 over the past month or so. The gate 10 is a center for self-love, for considering what is working for you. So we're all collectively kind of going through the Saturn, the taskmaster, is taking us through a rigorous evaluation of how it is that we need to align our own lives and our own attitudes about ourselves in order to feel more empowered, to feel more powerful, and to come from a place of self-love and self-empowerment. So Oprah's no exception to this. So there's probably a lot of internal sense of, is this the best thing for me? Can I still come from a place of loving myself, of being centered in myself? Will this serve me in my direction and in my ability to be who I am more powerfully? I just wanted to give you some insights about what I saw and what may be influencing her in this little baby step of saying, hey, I'm considering running for president. I'm seriously considering it. I'm actively considering it. And where that came from and what she might have been thinking at the time that she made that announcement. Not necessarily thinking, but what was going on with her, possibly going on with her at the time that she made that announcement, and where that struggle may be. Because I've heard in the news, or I've caught some news clips where people are commenting on her stated intentions and wondering what's taking so long. This could possibly be it. She doesn't want to come out of her hermit cave necessarily. She's not sure. She's weighing out whether this is the best thing for her, whether this is going to really serve her. She's probably got people around her who have this defined and fixed sense of value and worth and willpower, who are saying, hey, Oprah, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. You've got what it takes. And perhaps she does. I mean, there's a lot of power in here. She knows what people need and want. She's dedicated to the tribe. She's got inspiration. And then with these transits coming in, she saw what was possible. So that's my commentary on Oprah, what she was thinking when she made that announcement that she's considering running for president. So if this has kind of piqued your interest about the human design chart and you would like to know more about your chart, you can check out how I work over at my website at sandyfreshy.com.